Okay, so believe me, with the graduations from guys like Vasily Podkolzin, with the departures of guys like Jonah Gadjevich, with the Vancouver Canucks and the way they have gone about things, it's difficult to actually find too many prospects to be excited about. Now, that might not be seen as that bad of a thing. Hey, the prospects they had that were good are now on the team, so they're not prospects anymore. I'm looking at you, Podkolzin. I'm looking at you, Höglander, Petey, Hughes, Besser, you know what I mean. But when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks and the prospects they have remaining in the system, you have Jack Rathbone, you have DiPietro, you have Wu, and a few other guys, and it's not really like a lot of these players are projecting to being the next Elias Pettersson or a Podkolzin or a Höglander, maybe Rathbone, I'm not too sure, but this prospect pool is pretty bare, I get that. So when we talk about guys, we have to kind of look at things with a little bit more of a scale balanced out in the perspective that this team's prospect pool is among the bottom half in the league now. So when we get excited for guys, just take that little grain of salt with it right away. Because what we're talking about here is one of the prospects in the Canucks system who is honestly kind of underrated. And I say that mostly because he is a 2019 draftee by Vancouver, 7th round, 195th overall. He was actually an overager in the 2019 NHL Entry Draft. Today, we are talking about Vancouver Canucks prospect, Northeastern University Huskies left winger, Aidan McDonough. Now, the reason we're discussing McDonough and the profile that he has had is because this American from Milton, Massachusetts, USA, playing for Northeastern has been so good that we just might see his name on a USA sweater at the Olympics. Yeah. He has gone out there and, according to some NHL insiders, has garnered enough interest to maybe even being considered on the team. Now, at the time of recording this video, we don't really know if that's the case and if he's going to accept. That's a completely separate decision that he's going to have to make. But when it comes to Aidan McDonough, it doesn't really get much better than this when you're taking a look at where he was drafted and what the Vancouver Canucks gave up to get him. He was taken in the 7th round, as we said, 195th overall, and when he was drafted in this season, he was wrapping up his final year in the USHL, playing for the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders as an 18-year-old player. He had 42 points in 50 games played, and over a point per game in the postseason. Now, that number isn't really the most impressive thing in the world for a guy who was the age he was, 18 turning 19 years old, but he played the majority of his earlier hockey life split between the MSHL, which is the Massachusetts Hockey Sports League, as well as the high school leagues in America too. In his draft year, he wasn't really seen as this super high-profile guy because there wasn't really all too much exposure for McDonough. So after playing his draft plus 1 year in the junior leagues in the USHL, he got drafted, and then he made his way over to Northeastern. There, he put up 27 points in 31 games played, not bad for a draft plus 2 player playing in his Northeastern debut. Then he had himself a point-per-game season the next year, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points in 21 games. This season, though, with the A on his sweater as a junior for Northeastern, he's gone out there with 19 points in 19 games played. Okay, great, a point-per-game increase, he is right there. But 15 of these points are goals, and 4 of them assists. He's gone out there and bested his total goal high in a season in only 19 games played this year. I mean, his previous high was 11 goals in 31 games 2 years ago. Aidan McDonough has gone out there for Northeastern and absolutely dominated on the score sheet, scoring at an incredible pace. He is one of the top goal guys in the entire NCAA, just 2 behind the leader, Ethan Frank of Western Michigan University. Now, again, it's easy to go out there and say, okay, NCAA guys, you know, they score goals, they get points, whatever. NCAA players don't usually become stars unless they already have that super highly touted player profile to begin with. And that's true. It's difficult to find a consistent trend with NCAA talent who become NHL caliber stars after being as good as Aidan McDonough is in the NCAA right now, because every year we have guys who put up numbers like these and who score points like these and who score goals like these who don't really amount to anything at the NHL level. They sign AHL deals, ECHL deals, they go overseas. It's not the most consistent thing in the world. However, with Aidan McDonough, this is kind of one of those things where you look at the Canucks and you say, darn, that's a 7th round pick right there. This is kind of why draft picks are so important, and it's why it was so aggravating when Jim Benning would go out there and trade them constantly. It's also why a lot of fans would preach, okay, we need to get more picks, dude, like, come on. Get yourselves the extra 5th round pick, get yourselves an extra 4th, or a 6th or a 7th, or 2 7ths, because all it takes in a draft class of 5, 6, or 7 late round picks is 1 or 2 of them to actually become serviceable for you to seem like a genius. Yannick Henson was a 9th round pick all those years ago. Yeah, by the way, there were 9 rounds in the NHL draft when Yannick Henson was drafted. But Aidan McDonough, going out there as a 7th round pick, is pretty much doing the best that you can expect a 7th round pick to go out there and do. Here are some quotes from McDonough and the way that he's been playing. This is from an article on The Province. Canucks prospect Aidan McDonough on the USA Olympic roster, published by Patrick Johnson a few days ago. He says this: "My season has been great so far. Our team has really came together well and found a way to win games. Obviously, our goalie is outstanding. By the way, their goaltender, yeah, it's Devin Levi. We've talked about him a ton on this channel before. Northeastern Huskies represent. But we have been playing great team defense, and we've had some timely scoring, which has been huge. I personally feel great," Aidan McDonough says. "I feel a lot more comfortable and confident in my season in college, and have been playing with great players all year who have helped me a lot." We also had ourselves an interview with McDonough done on Donnie and Dolly earlier today. The big thing that they talked about with McDonough and his entire profile was whether or not he's going to sign. Because that is indeed one of the things that McDonough is going to have to face. Not just the Olympic trials and whether or not he'll get accepted. He has to make the choice as to whether or not he wants to go. The other big decision of his is going to be signing with Vancouver or not. He says this: "I don't know if I'll sign in Vancouver after this season. I can't answer that right now. I'm not thinking about that right now. Just concentrating on my team right now." I like that he is very adamant that it is only a right now thing. I like the kind of language that he uses where he does not put a definitive answer to the entire rest of his college career or in the next few months, even after the season is over. He's just like, yeah, okay, I'm not doing this now. I'm thinking about my own team. Very nice diversification. I do appreciate that as somebody who does treat language in the way that I do. It's kind of my job to use the language. If you want a little bit of a scouting report just to end this video off, let's go over onto DobberProspects.com. The fantasy summary for McDonough says that he is a shoot-first winger with a heavy approach to the game. In March 2021, so a year ago, Dave Hall wrote about McDonough and he had to say this: "McDonough's sophomore campaign was certainly one to find value in. Despite a condensed season, the 21-year-old bested his previous rookie points per game, finishing at a solid .95 season. He notched 10 goals, yada yada yada, we talked about the stats already. 6 of his 10 goals stemmed on the man advantage, which has undoubtedly become a staple of his game. He has blossomed into a prominent scoring threat and has found a comfortable home on his forehand half wall. With 2 years of collegiate hockey under his belt, there is a possibility for him to turn pro. However, the likely scenario for him is to return to the NCAA to fulfill his junior year. Overall, the sharpshooting 7th round pick continues to trend towards steal territory." Now, that's not saying he is a steal. That's saying that based off of his season last year, he is starting to maybe become a steal, depending on if he continues down that path. So this season has been a very, very good exploitation of that power play shot, where we have seen him rip pucks towards the goal, score a boatload of goals. 15 goals in 19 games is definitely not something to scoff at. And I know, it's easy for everybody to go out there and look at the previous Vancouver Canuck guy who was at Northeastern who had similar goal production rates in Adam Gaudette and say, cynically, "Oh, look at how good Gaudette was. He had 30 goals in however many games." Like, yeah, I get it. Adam Gaudette was not really the best in Vancouver, but he did have a 33-point season in 59 games. You got to remember that happened, and then it was just kind of weird deployment and everything. It was a really strange development curve for Gaudette here in Vancouver, but still, no matter what the past indicates with other guys that have gone through similar development trends in Vancouver Canucks prospect history, it doesn't really matter because the Canucks prospect pipeline right now is so thin that anybody like Aidan McDonough coming over here and being as good as he is, you just gotta go out there and cheer for the guy, man. Like, come on, just wait it out. See if he makes the Olympic team, cheer for him there, and then cheer for him to go out there and dominate Northeastern once again. And then we'll see what he does in Utica or... oh my gosh. Utica, did I just say that? No, Abbotsford. It's gonna take some getting used to, isn't it? Talk to me in the comments, what do you think about Aidan McDonough and everything that he's done so far in the NCAA for Northeastern? How excited are you to actually maybe have some Canucks at the Olympics this year? Because, sorry, Hughes, Miller, Demko, Pedersen, it's not going to be you guys, it's probably going to be the prospects instead, so Let me know in the comments all your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.